But I got to tell you something. Now, I have a couple of questions. I've got a couple of statements. What do you want first?
I want the statement. I like the statement. Questions I can fake an answer to. Statement gets me excited.
Oh, okay. Pete Alonso is not a superstar.
No,
That is the statement.
Come on, man.
If we're going to skip foreplay and get right into it, here we go. Pete Alonso's a really good player, and he's very easy to like, and he's a power-hitting first baseman with a solid batting average, which is a rare commodity in today's major leagues. Like, usually if you have a ton of power, you're hitting 220-ish or 230, he's a 260 guy. He's an energy guy. Fans love him. I get that. But all I heard and all we talked about, and I thought it was a pretty fair talking point, was once the Mets get past the Dodgers, that everything opens up because you've got the dregs of humanity. You've got the Nats, you've got the Pirates, you've got the Marlins, you've got the Pirates again, blah, blah, blah. The A's mixed in there at some point. So that would be the runway for the Mets to pull away, and they might. I mean, listen, I'm not forecasting impending doom for the New York Mets, but I will say this. Now, he'll never be Aaron Judge, and he doesn't have to be Aaron Judge. But Pete Alonso needs to be the New York Mets version of Aaron Judge, and he's got to wake up. He has got to start playing better. And it's amazing to me. I find this interesting. Like, the Yankees get crushed. And I was all over Cashman yesterday. I stand by every word. But the Yankees, the evaluation of the Yankees seems to be very different. Far less soft, and maybe because Cashman's been here forever for the Mets. I get that, but why is nobody complaining or really on Pete Alonso?
Well, I think because of how the Yankees' expectation is always, and where the Mets' expectation is. You got to back up and remember that the Mets were just trying to change the story, right? And obviously they did it in a very expensive way. You know, they brought in all those guys, including Max Scherzer, for $43 million a year, and Francisco Lindor. So it was just really changing the story. And Pete Alonso was the one holdover who was Rookie of the Year when he hit 53 home runs in his first year. He was top 10 in MVP voting that year as well. And he just became New York's, potential MVP candidate. He became the guy to build around. He had this great nickname, the Polar Bear. He was affable. He smashed home runs. He kind of like an old school idea of what a baseball masher should be. Mm-hmm. And he was the Mets, and he fit what they were trying to become. And as they got good this year, he followed through with that. I mean, there was a point this year, BT, where we were talking about Pete Alonso could win the MVP in the National League.
That's a long time ago.
It was, because Goldsmith just ran away with it, and obviously he's fallen off over these last couple of months. But to say he's not a superstar takes the Met ideal and just squashes it. Right, and
so that's not my intention.
I know, but
that's trying to diffuse the energy of the Met fans.
But that's what you're doing.
But if I'm right, then that's what needs to be done.
But why? So baseball is. You said this so many times to me over the years. Baseball is a game of failure. It's you're going to go through slumps. You're going to go through periods where you just can't find grass, or you can't get it over the wall. Whatever it is, your MO is for as a hitter. Pete Alonso is going through that right now, and I honestly feel, as much as we've championed what Buck Showalter has brought, he maybe erred a little bit with Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. They are hitting a slump right now, and it's because both of them have played 135 of 136 games, right? And so at this point, they are probably spent. Right, we get on the Yankees because Aaron Judge has an off day after an off day, and Stanton can't do this because he needs some rest time. Maybe that's the way to go with these guys who ultimately carry teams. So I'm not absolving Pete Alonso, because he's got to get better, especially with the division race getting as tight as it is. I can't absolve Pete Alonso, but I can understand, and I can't knock him off that superstar trajectory that he's been on the first 3 years of his career.
All right, listen. By the way, 877-337-6666. That's our number. Tiki and Tierney Show. I do think the Mets find a way to regenerate and get this thing rectified. Like, at least against the against the bad teams. The Scherzer news is not optimal. Mm-hmm. They've got some other issues. They're not really hitting right now. And when you don't hit, you look lethargic. which is really the complete antithesis of what the 2022 Mets have been. They've just been oozing energy from opening day, really. So maybe there's something to be said for being a little tired, bats a little slow, whatever. But let me ask you a question, and we can apply this to really any sport. Because the use of the word, and maybe I'm being Mr. Literal today, and if that's the case, maybe you'd have to reel me in at some point. When we talked about Donovan Mitchell, all right, think about this. From a Knicks perspective, we know he's not coming here, but from a Knicks perspective, I was very quick to say, and you were very fast to agree, he's not a superstar.
No.
He's an all-star.
He's an all-star.
Okay. So how many true superstars can each sport have? I know the number's going to fluctuate year to year and maybe a little bit sport to sport, but you start talking about baseball and you talk about the Judges and the Goldschmidts and even the Austin Rileys and the Arenados and the Mookie Bettses and the Freemans and the Jose Ramirez's and the Trey Turners, even Matty Olson's for the Braves, who's in his prime, like Alonso. Pete Alonso's a really good player, but if you want to be a superstar in this town, you have to wake up when your team is going sideways.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
And by the way, there's still time to do that. And I think about that question you just asked. Like, what is a superstar? A superstar is someone who obviously performs. And Pete Alonso, for most of his career to date, has done that. He's been a performer, and that's in the home run derby. I mean, all these things.
Yeah, I mean that means nothing.
Of course,
the
it
Pirates
means nothing.
Today. That means nothing to me.
But it does mean something because as I'm classifying what a superstar is, it's someone who has name recognition even outside of their sport. Right? Like if you're a sports fan, but not necessarily a baseball fan, you know who Pete Alonso is.
I challenge that statement. I challenge that statement, by the way. I don't think he transcends the game.
Maybe I'm biased a little bit.
He doesn't transcend the game. Stop.
I feel like I would know who he is even if I didn't watch baseball.
I don't agree with that because you wouldn't see the local commercials, those cheesy local.
But it's not
commercials.
even about. It's not about the local commercial.
But you don't see him nationally anywhere, and the Mets haven't won anything. So why would he be a superstar that cuts through in the Q rating nationally?
I'm not saying he's a superstar, but I'm saying he's on that trajectory. It's the word I used before, and it's the one I'm going to keep using. He was on that trajectory to being a household type name, and because the Mets were ascending. Stevie Cohen buys the team. They bring in all these names, Francisco Lindor, Scherzer, etc. I said them all before. Bassett. Pete Alonso was the star, or he is the star of this Mets team, and he was trending towards being this nationally known star. And if you get to that point and then you perform in the postseason, you become a superstar, right? So there's a couple of layers to superstardom. One is performing. One is you got to have a national name, and then you got to do it when it really matters. Forget the regular season. You got to do it when it really matters. And he still has a chance to do that this season.
Sure he does.
That's why I can't knock him off the trajectory that I've seen him going on. Really, for the last couple of years.
That's a very rational way of looking at it. But the trajectory I'm splitting hairs here, I admit it. Mm-hmm. But the trajectory toward superstardom is different than already being at the level of superstardom.
No, there's no doubt.
And maybe that's what I'm nitpicking here. And it just seems a little unfair. We micro-criticize and micro-analyze everything about the New York Yankees.
Well, that's because the expectation.
And everything about the Mets, buck this, and rightfully so for the most part, buck this, Stevie Cohen that, you got Scherzer, you got DeGrom, you got this guy, you got energy,
that was
you got
Buck
Old Timers
right?
Day, you got Keith, my name is Keith, I'm Keith, whatever they called the show on SNY, the great Keith Hernandez, who we love watching and listening to. But I mean, after a while, man, it is September. All right? And while the Jets and the Giants, who knows what they give us this year? Nobody knows. We'll find out starting this week, right? But we are expecting the New York Mets, maybe even more than the New York Yankees, because of their pitching, although complicated now with Scherzer going to the IL. But you know what I mean, before today, to maybe do something big this fall. And if Pete doesn't start mashing, that ain't happening.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
That's my only contention.
Do you believe that he will? Do you believe that he will? And it's a hard question.
No, it's not that hard. It's
because
not that hard for me.
They haven't. He's never been in this situation.
I'm going to give him credit
as a team. He's never been in this situation. So
I believe more yes than no. I have more faith in Pete than I don't. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
But it's go time now.
It is.
There's no hiding.
It is.
There's no, let's pile on Lindor because he's been quiet for, 6 weeks and his OPS is 712 like it was for whatever. Or, DeGrom, when is he going to come back? No. To me, the onus is on if he is undeniably their best player, right?
Yes.
Okay. And right now, their best player is in a very painful, prolonged slump. And they need him. Because who knows what the we know what the X-ray spit back, but who knows what's up with Marte? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah.
And who knows?
And it's been pretty consistent this season. He's just little nagging things.
No, I love Marte. Marte's terrific, but when you get hit on the bone.
That's my point. There's been little nagging things where he's going to miss a couple days. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Let's hope it's only a couple of days.
That's right.
If you're a Mets fan today, you wake up, after last night when you left the game that early, you probably sit here and say, you know what? Jeez, if he just misses 2 against the Pirates on Wednesday, I'll sign up for that. Let's hope that that's the low end of the return. But Pete, it's go time for Pete. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he won't do it. I'm not saying anything other than he needs to start playing better. And I feel as if, I'm not saying nobody's saying it. I'm not saying that nobody's intimating, but it hasn't been as overt. And maybe because it is the Mets and they're in this early stage of transformation, so we're less critical. I get all that. I do. I get it. It's a different scoreboard than the Yankees. Hell, Cashman's been stealing money for a decade at this point. So the ire and the attention and the angst and the energy is going to be louder toward the Yankees. Understood. And on most levels, it should be. But he better start hitting. 877-337-6666. Now, Mr. Hoffman, our big-time Mets fan here. Before I get to these calls, I have no idea what awaits me. We'll find out momentarily. Is there anything that you'd like to say to defend your boy Pete? Anything I said that was unfair, out of bounds, without justification? Go ahead.
I just think you're being overcritical for no reason. Right now, he's in a slump.
Wait.
That's it. He's got a bad month. That's it.
For no reason.
Wait, what?
No, there's reason to be critical.
I think
Dude, you tied with you can't say for no reason. You tied with the Braves.
Oh, they're tied with us.
No, well, okay, that's fair. If you want to look at it that way.
They caught us.
Oh, fair enough. But for the first time in, I think, 147 days,
April 11th,
whatever
right?
it is, you're not there by yourself. Okay, they're tied with you. Fair enough. I'll give you guys that respect. You've earned it so far. But you're not scoring, and your main star has been basically invisible for a while. So I'm going to ask you again. What did I say that was unfair or inaccurate?
Well, I believe we have multiple stars on the team, so I feel good about that. Unlike other
who are the
teams.
Stars?
Yeah, multiple stars.
Who?
Pete Alonso's 1.
Okay.
Francisco Lindor, 2.
Okay.
Jacob DeGrom, Max Scherzer, I know just won the IL, so that stinks.
Hitting.
McNeil.
Stars.
McNeil's hitting for
He's
average.
been a little quiet lately.
Yeah.
I love McNeil. I'm not going to start
McNeil's
knocking McNeil.
a star hitter.
I do
but
love
he's,
McNeil.
Yeah.
Stars? Let's not.
Well, Marte just got hurt.
All right. I mean,
It's all injury
stretching
based.
the definition of star here is you're doing that to make your point.
Yeah, no,
and I've done that to make mine in the past. So I get it.
Listen, I agree with the criticism the same way that we criticized other talented players in the other end of in the Bronx for having a rough stretch. So and they have 54 home runs right now, so they can bounce back.
Cool.
I'm not going to sit here though and say that the season rides and dies with Pete Alonso. That's not true.
Okay, what if Scherzer isn't back for a couple of weeks? Can you then not say that really the season can die if Alonso doesn't hit?
I need him for the playoffs. See, the thing is, you're missing the point here is that the big picture is not about this last month. The big picture is playoffs. And we need a healthy DeGrom, a healthy Scherzer. We need a healthy Alonso, a healthy Lindor.
Yep.
And we're smooth sailing.
I got you.
Hey, Hoff, all of a sudden, do you not care about the division?
Here we go. He's changed.
We're still winning the division. We're still winning the
I'm
division.
just making sure I have this clear. Just making sure. The division still matters.
Still runs through City.
And we're still going to win it.
Right over Shea Bridge.
And we're still going to win it.
I just needed clarity. That's all.
Listen, I have a little pit in my stomach.
Get him on the record.
I have a pit in my stomach
He's
right
all
now.
over the
I
place.
feel very bad right now. The Scherzer news really just another punch to the
That
you-know-what.
sucks.
But I still feel confident with this team.
I mean, here I am, and here we are as Yankee fans absolutely bashing and riding poor DJ LeMahieu, who's in his mid-30s with a toe that's about to fall off, God forbid, because he hasn't hit, and we're going to give Alonso a pass. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not the way it goes. 877-337. Yeah, well, then
worry about your team. I worry about my team.
Well, here's what you can do. You can give him the free pass with your buddy Evan Roberts. Evan won't give him a pass, but you can give him the pass on the Rico Bronya podcast. How about that?
That's right. Tonight, we'll record another episode.
Are you going to record an emergency one tonight?
Well, we have doublehead. The series ends tonight with the Pirates, so we're going to record one right afterwards.
Okay. You better win both those games.
It'd be nice to see it. Boy, what a feeble crowd. I think I heard the guys coming in this morning say that the announced crowd last night was 8,800. There is no way there was 8,800 bodies. And I'll tell you what, 60% were Met fans.
Yeah, that's the tally, the official MLB tally, 88-17.
That means 5,300 is what that means.
That was 88-17 tickets sold.
That's disgraceful.
That is bad.
And they probably had 2,000 Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Let's give out some freebies, get some bodies in here. Maybe they'll buy some hot dogs. All right, we're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that at Town Fair, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. All right, we're getting these Met calls up next. Mets, it's your show for a while. You hear what Randy Levine said? One thing. I mean, he said a lot of things, but one thing that he said about Aaron Judge and the whole contractual dynamic may have been the most pathetic interpretation of anything pertaining to a big Yankee story by somebody from inside the Yankees, but it was nuanced and it wasn't like in your face that I've ever heard. And we'll get to that a little later. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan.